I want you to imagine silence. Not the empty kind, but the kind that feels charged, like the air just before a storm breaks. That's the kind of silence that surrounds the idea of the Indian Challenger RR Electric. Not the motorcycle itself yet, but the anticipation. The space it's about to occupy in the world of motorcycling. Because this bike doesn't arrive screaming for attention. It arrives with weight, with presence, with a question that lingers longer than any exhaust note ever could. What happens when one of the most emotionally rooted American motorcycle lineages decides to let go of combustion and lean fully into electricity? Take a breath for a second. Let that question sit with you. And while you're sitting with it, if you enjoy this kind of deep, story-driven motorcycle exploration, take a quiet moment to like the video, subscribe to SuperBike Intelligence, and let's ride this thought together, slowly, deliberately, the way this machine deserves. The Indian Challenger name already carries gravity. It's a name tied to long highways, big horizons, muscular silhouettes cutting through the American landscape. It's a name that doesn't chase trends. It waits, watches, then moves with purpose. So when whispers began to circulate about an RR version, electric no less, it didn't feel like a gimmick. It felt like a statement, almost a challenge to the rider as much as to the industry. Picture it in your mind before any numbers, before any speculation. The stance alone tells you everything. Long, low, deliberate. Not trying to look futuristic in a loud, angular way, but modern in the way a stealth aircraft is modern. Smooth surfaces that feel sculpted by wind rather than CAD software. A fairing that doesn't just cut air, but seems to part it respectfully. This isn't a bike shouting, "Look what I can do." It's a bike calmly saying, "You already know." The absence of an engine changes everything, and yet somehow nothing. Where pistons once pulsed, there's now a contained tension, a quiet readiness. You don't hear it idling, but you feel it waiting. Like a sprinter on the blocks, muscles coiled, breath held. The electric drivetrain doesn't remove emotion here. It concentrates it, compresses it, turns anticipation into something physical. Imagine walking up to it at dusk. The sun low, the sky bruised purple and orange. The Challenger RR Electric doesn't reflect light the way chrome ever did. It absorbs it. Matte finishes, deep metallic tones, subtle highlights tracing the bike's mass. The lighting elements don't flash or dance. They glow, calm, confident, alive in a restrained, almost human way. You swing a leg over, and the first thing you notice isn't the seat height or the bars. It's balance. Perfectly centered. No lurch, no vibration, no mechanical shuffle beneath you, just stillness. A stillness that feels deliberate, engineered, intentional. The bike feels like it's already part of you, even before you move. This is where the idea of RR starts to make sense, not as race replica theatrics, but as refinement and response. Everything here feels tuned to react instantly to your intent. The throttle, if you can even call it that, doesn't twist against springs or cables. It reads you. A subtle rotation and the bike doesn't surge. It flows. Power arrives like a tide, not a punch. Immediate, yes, but controlled. Elegant. Pull away into the city, and suddenly you realize something profound. The city sounds different. Without engine noise, the world steps forward. Tires whispering against asphalt, wind brushing past your helmet, the hum of the electric motor, barely audible, like distant electricity in the walls of a building at night. It's not silent, it's intimate. Traffic lights become moments of stillness rather than frustration. Cars idle, vibrate, fidget. The Challenger RR Electric waits calmly, patient. When the light changes, you don't launch, you glide. Effortless acceleration that feels like being pulled forward by gravity itself. No drama, no strain, just motion. And as you move through the city, people notice, not because of sound, but because of shape, because of presence. Heads turn, conversations pause. There's something unsettling and captivating about a machine that looks powerful but moves without noise. It feels inevitable, like the future casually riding past without asking permission. If this kind of storytelling resonates with you, if you're enjoying the way we're unpacking not just the bike, but the feeling around it, take a second to comment what electric motorcycling means to you. And stay subscribed to Superbike Intelligence. We're just getting started. Out on the open road, everything changes again. The city falls away, buildings replaced by distance. Long stretches of asphalt unfold like invitations. This is where the Challenger lineage has always felt at home. And this electric RR version doesn't shy away from that heritage. It reinterprets it. At highway speed, the bike settles into itself. There's no gear hunting, no vibration creeping through the bars. Just a smooth, relentless forward motion. Wind pressure builds, but the fairing manages it beautifully, guiding air around you rather than fighting it. You feel cocooned, not isolated, connected, not removed. This is where the emotional core of the bike reveals itself. Because riding the Challenger RR Electric isn't about aggression. It's about confidence. About knowing you have power in reserve at all times. About rolling on at 70 and feeling the bike surge forward without hesitation, without noise, without effort. Just pure intent translated into motion. And then there's the sound, or rather, the lack of it. Riders often fear electric bikes will feel soulless, but out here, with the road stretching endlessly ahead, you realize something unexpected. The soul doesn't disappear. It moves. It shifts from noise to sensation, from sound to feel. You feel acceleration in your chest. You feel torque in your spine. You feel the bike's mass leaning gently into long sweepers, stable and composed. The chassis doesn't protest. It collaborates. This bike doesn't fight physics. It works with it. Imagine rain now, a sudden downpour on a mountain road. Clouds low, visibility reduced, the road slick and reflective like black glass. This is where trust matters. And the Challenger RR Electric feels unshakable. Power delivery smooth enough to be precise even on compromised surfaces. Traction systems working quietly in the background, never intruding, never announcing themselves. The weight, often criticized in electric motorcycles, becomes an ally here. Planted. Reassuring. The bike feels anchored to the earth, carving through wet bends with dignity rather than drama. You're not wrestling it, you're guiding it. Like steering a powerful animal that understands exactly what you're asking. Pause for a moment in that rain, pull over under a shelter, sit there listening to the water hit the fairing, the helmet, the ground. The bike waits with you, no ticking exhaust, no heat radiating, just shared stillness. This machine doesn't demand attention when you stop riding. It respects the pause. Night riding tells a different story altogether. City lights reflected in wet roads. The Challenger RR Electric becomes something almost cinematic. Its lighting cuts cleanly through darkness. Not harsh, not aggressive, purposeful. The glow of the dash minimal, refined. Everything you need, nothing you don't. You roll through the city late at night, streets nearly empty. This is where electric power feels almost magical. No waking neighborhoods, no announcing your presence, just movement. You feel like a ghost passing through spaces meant for the living, and yet you feel more alive than ever. There's a moment, there always is, when you stop thinking about the bike altogether, when it disappears beneath you, when it becomes an extension of your thoughts. That's the highest compliment any motorcycle can receive. And the Challenger RR Electric seems built for that moment. Of course, comparisons are inevitable. Riders will ask how it stacks up against the old V-twin Thunder, against the roar, the vibration, the ritual. But that's the wrong comparison. This isn't replacing that experience. It's evolving it. Offering a parallel path, a different emotional language. The old bike spoke in fire and fuel. This one speaks in electricity and intent. Both are valid, both are powerful, and both can coexist. Indian knows that. You can feel it in the way this bike doesn't try to erase its past. The silhouette still whispers cruiser DNA. The confidence still feels American. The road presence still commands respect. The soul hasn't been sacrificed. It's been translated. If you're still with me here, if you're feeling this slow burn build, do me a favor. Tap like, stay subscribed, and share this with someone who thinks electric bikes can't have soul. Let's challenge that idea together. Now, imagine a long ride. Not a quick blast. A real journey. Dawn departure, cool air. The bike, fully charged. You and the horizon alone. This is where range anxiety fades. Not because the numbers are huge, but because the experience is immersive. You're not rushing, you're riding. Stops become intentional. Moments to reflect, to check the world, to breathe. And every time you get back on, the bike is ready. No warm-up, no hesitation, just quiet readiness. There's something deeply modern and deeply human about that. The Challenger RR Electric feels like a motorcycle designed for riders who think, riders who feel, riders who understand that speed isn't always about noise and power isn't always about force. Sometimes it's about control, about clarity, about presence. As the miles roll on, you realize this bike isn't trying to prove anything. It doesn't need to. It exists confidently in its own identity. A machine that respects tradition without being chained to it. A motorcycle that understands the emotional weight of its badge and carries it into a future that feels inevitable. And when the ride finally ends, when you shut it down and step away, there's no dramatic cooldown. No final roar. Just silence. But it's not empty. It's full. Full of experience, full of memory, full of possibility. You turn back and look at it one last time, and it hits you. This isn't just an electric motorcycle. It's a statement about where motorcycling can go without losing itself. About how innovation doesn't have to erase emotion. About how the future doesn't have to be cold. The Indian Challenger RR Electric doesn't beg you to accept change. It invites you to feel it. And that might be its most powerful feature of all. If you enjoyed this ride through imagination and emotion, stay connected with SuperBike Intelligence. More stories like this are coming. Stories about machines, yes, but also about what they mean to us. Because motorcycles aren't just transport, they're mirrors. And the future they reflect is quieter, smoother, and far more soulful than we ever expected.